Welcome back to episode number 95 of the Idols to Rivals podcast. First, just want to address something. If you're listening to the audio version on whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, wherever you're at, you'll notice the intro sound and outro sound is gone. I'm not sure what Anchor did. That's the website I use to post all this stuff everywhere for the audio version. And they took away the intro and outro sound. So I'm not 100% sure where that went. I listened to all the other ones and I thought they were all terrible. So we're just going to go straight up into the episodes from now on until I can find either a music clip, copyright free music, or just another sound that we can add in there that I think fits it. But for now, we're just going to hop right into it. So if this is your first time listening, this is a podcast I record every Wednesday/Thursday and get it uploaded for you guys. We're at 95 episodes in. We're about to hit the big 100. And so planning out something cool to do for that. Hopefully have a bunch of guests and just kind of shoot the shit and reevaluate. Not reevaluate, but evaluate, how far we've come, where we're going, and all the process there in the future. So get excited for that. Appreciate everybody for listening. Again, there is a audio version on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you can listen to podcasts at, there is an audio version. And then also there's a video version that you will see on YouTube. So if you just search Idols to Rivals, you'll be able to see it up on my YouTube channel. So we just recently brought that back with our new streaming service. So should be pretty exciting. And so far I've been loving what it's been doing, try to use everything, cost basis, and with StreamYard is what I've been using. They've been absolutely killing it. They've helped with everything and they make it look a lot more professional. Video quality is better, audio quality is better, everything like that. So it's been really exciting working with them. So just kind of wanted to get into it. Today is going to be just a solo episode. Everybody's got things going on, so I didn't have a guest on, but no big deal. That's how this is run for a long time now. But we'll have people back here pretty soon. It's just been a wild week. I feel like the middle of summer has always been crazy, whether it be going through school or, once that school ends, everything kind of ramps up, whether you get, going back home to get a summer job or staying on campus or, switching jobs. I feel like a lot of that happens in the summer, taking vacations. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. 4th of July just passed, which was an absolute blast. I'll go into it a little bit, but I think those stories will be better served just kind of volleying back and forth with Luciano whenever he comes back on the podcast here pretty soon. So I went up to Dewey Beach, or Bethany Beach, I guess is a little more descriptive, but I'm sure more people have heard of Dewey Beach in Delaware. I'd never been to Delaware. I've driven through it a couple of times, but never stayed there. Stayed there for a week. It was an absolute blast. Had to work while I was doing it, which kind of sucked, but we got through it. I also work in the state of Maryland, so it was right on the border of Ocean City, Maryland. So it was a good time seeing everybody, met a lot of new people. And I didn't realize that Delaware closes the bars. I think it was 1:00. Maybe some of them were 2, but really college town vibes. Everyone that was home for the 4th or home for summer was out. So it was an absolute blast. Played a whole bunch of beer die. We had this awesome setup at the beach house. It wasn't really on the beach. It was more of a beach community. And so we had a big grass yard. They threw a party, and one of the dads was a DJ. So he DJ'd this party and absolutely killed it. He was busting out some crazy expensive liquors. There was, $1,000 bottle of Weller's bourbon. There was a 23-year-old beer or something like that. There was just crazy stuff that I'd never even heard of. I'm not, big into alcohol in that regard of saving them or collecting them or anything like that. I would like to be, but that's an expensive hobby. And so it was cool to kind of taste, the different bourbons, the different beers and all that stuff that, not in that realm quite yet, but it was really cool. Delaware's a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I actually had to, ended up running home from 4th of July party just because the ride had left, and I planned on staying at a buddy's house, and then that kind of fell through. So I ran back and ended up passing a Wawa. And if you didn't know, it's a Hoagie Fest currently. So it's $5 hoagies. I had never heard of this. I'm not really from places that have Wawa, but I met these 3 kids, just absolutely gassed. I was winded. I haven't ran, it was like a little bit below 2 miles. So every other block halfway through, I was just gassed, could not breathe. And I passed these 3 kids on longboards just sitting on the corner eating, footlongs, hoagies. And they're like, dude, this is 1, 2 in the morning. They're like, dude, you got to get in there. You have to do it. You have to go to Hoagie Fest. It's $5. It's only once a year. And I was like, what are you talking about? I can't breathe. I'm trying to get home. I'm trying to get back and go to sleep. And these kids were just all about it, which ended up hitting Hoagie Fest. I took advantage of that offer and ended up hitting it, but not on the run home. But it was just a completely different animal. It was a lot of fun. Super small beach town. If you've never been up there, look up Dewey Beach. Dewey Beach is a little bit bigger. There's Dewey Beach and Ocean City are the ones that Dewey Beach I'd heard of. I went to school with some people from up there, and they would always vacation work up there. And then Ocean City is Ocean City. If you've looked into any of it, it's Maryland. So just keep that in mind. But it was a lot of fun. Great seeing family. 4th of July, borderline best holiday. Actually, it is the best holiday there is. With the family, fireworks everywhere, red, white, and blue, American flags. Fucking love it. It's the best. And it's burgers, hot dogs, as far as the eye can see. Best food. You don't have to worry about, going over for Thanksgiving. There's certain shit people make, like canned yams or yams, whatever. I don't even know what a yam is. Stuff like that. All that shit that you gotta, like, okay, I'm gonna, don't want to insult anybody, so you scoop some shit on your plate. Not like that for the July. It's fries, burgers, hot dogs. And I absolutely love it. But like I said, we'll get a little bit more into those stories when Luciano gets back on the podcast, because I think it'd be a lot more entertaining to hear his and then kind of just go back and forth with it. But yeah, 95 episodes. I cannot believe that we're already here. It's been a long journey. Again, I want to do something big for the 100th episode, so we'll have to start planning that out, because it should be here, within the next little over a month. So I'm really excited about that. I appreciate everybody for listening. Don't really have a whole bunch to talk about as far as sports wise. Sports are done for the foreseeable future, but kind of wanted to talk about something that I think is hilarious. Someone who's been in the spotlight, I think, for now, the past decade or so, and beloved by a lot of people. There's not a lot of people I see that absolutely hate him, but Elon Musk, I'm sure you've seen the articles about how he was going to buy Twitter for $44 billion and get rid of all the bots, get rid of all the censorship, everything. What Twitter used to be. Twitter used to be the Wild West. It was 2005, 2006. You would see the wildest shit on Twitter. It was like fight videos. There was porn on there. There was just, stuff from different countries. It was the Wild West. People were cussing. People were, attacking other people. It was crazy. And then it's interesting to see how far it's come to where, if you have a certain viewpoint, or if you have opinions on a hot topic that maybe is not favored by, the Twitter sphere, then you can absolutely be censored, shadow banned, deleted, your account revoked, all that stuff. So I was behind that. I like Elon Musk. I'm not one of those people that are like, I'll put all of my 401k in the Tesla stock. That's just not me. I know people that are like that, and I respect it. They're making a good chunk of change right now. But he's now being sued because he revoked that offer to buy Twitter. So was going to buy it for 44 million. He said, actually, fuck that. I don't want it. And now they're suing him to buy it, which is something I've never heard before. I've never seen before. No lawyer, don't know shit about the law for the most part, but I don't know how you can sue somebody into spending their own $44 billion if they don't want it. And maybe it was a tactic. I think I'm reading through a quick article. I think it's more of Twitter's kind of pissed off because he was talking shit, in their opinion. I didn't see any of the tweets or anything like that, but he was talking shit. He was disparaging the company, making the stock price drop, which I'm pretty sure the stock price has been dropping for the past 7 years or so as Twitter's kind of died through Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. As all those come up, Twitter's kind of died. And maybe the censorship stuff plays into it, but the stock price of Twitter has been on the downward slope for a long time, a lot longer than this whole Elon Musk, month or two campaign. And so I think it's absolutely, we live in a wild fucking time where someone can get a billionaire, maybe the richest man, maybe the richest man on the planet currently, is now getting sued because he doesn't want to buy or acquire a company. Really weird. That's really the biggest thing I've been seeing out of headlines. As far as that goes, no politics or anything like that. We'll never talk about politics on this podcast because, frankly, I don't give a shit. And you do you. But that's really kind of been the biggest news besides, the economy and everything like that, which, again, don't really want to talk about that because people have their own viewpoints. It's in the shitter. I think it's going to get a little bit worse here pretty soon. But, only time will tell. It's all this stuff's cyclical. So it's just been a bad couple of years, and it's finally going to catch up, which we all knew. So it's interesting. But in a lighter note, how these podcasts normally go, kind of go off on a tangent. Just kind of wanted to talk about some stuff I've been reading, I've been listening to, I've been learning over these past couple of weeks. I took a hiatus for 4th of July, obviously. So that's why we didn't have a podcast last week. But just things I've been learning. And again, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the last episode. If you do not have Audible, get the physical copy. If you have Audible and like listening to audiobooks, get Atomic Habits. This book is insane. what I do is I add notes, or they're called bookmarks. I add bookmarks on Audible, and I'm actually going to buy the physical book so I can write it or highlight, which makes things way easier to remember. But I will listen to something. I normally do it like 1.3, or I normally do 1.5 times speed or 1.75 times speed to get through books quicker. And it's, listening to people is a lot faster than reading, because reading, your brain is constantly trying to readjust and trying to get back to where you were. That's what takes a lot people most of their time reading. It's not comprehending it. So having it read, you can go through way quicker. Like I said, almost 2 times speed. This book, I slowed it down. I'm listening to it almost at normal speed, like how you would read. And every 5-10 minutes or so, I am stopping the book, pausing it, and I'll write down quotes, or I'll write down a great idea, or say, in all caps, like, listen to this again. This book is absolutely insane. And I'd heard about it for a while, and now it's kind of catching a little fire. I've seen it on Instagram, on like the motivation pages, and TikTok especially. People will be like, 3 books, 5 books that'll change your life or make you a millionaire, or however they want to fucking clickbait it. But in all honesty, it is an absolutely incredible book. Even if you're not into reading, the whole idea of habits, I was like, they're good for you, blah, blah, blah. You always hear it about, like, oh, you gotta have habits, you gotta do things like that. But when you break it down to how he was saying, you've always heard you want to get stuff out of the way early, because things come up. People invite you out to dinner, or after work you're tired, so you don't want to hit the gym. A million different excuses, a million different reasons to not do the things you want to do. And so when he breaks it down into, there's outcome based habits. So if you change, and I'm going to absolutely butcher this, but it's like you can change what the outcome comes out of it. Like, oh, I'm not going to smoke a cigarette, or, oh, I'm not going to eat a donut every morning, or whatever. You change that. Okay, boom. You're not doing that thing. Then there's actually a habit where you're just like, oh yeah. I don't keep food around or that does that, or I don't buy packs of smokes whenever I go back, whenever I go fill up a gas tank, or something along those lines. And then the big one is the identity change, where something goes, no, you want a cigarette? No, I don't want one. Instead you go, no, I'm not a smoker, and changing that identity in your head. And so that was kind of the biggest revelation to begin with that he goes off on, and I thought was just absolutely insane. And with that being said, you take a lot more pride in having that as your identity. If you say, hey, I'm a clean eater, or I'm disciplined, I'm a disciplined person, as opposed to, no, I don't want to eat, that ice cream or that pizza or whatever it is that you want, you want to eat it because that stuff's delicious. But if you say, no, I'm on a diet right now, then that's one thing. But if you say, I'm a healthy person. If you identify as a healthy person, even if you want that, you would take more pride, and if you cave into that thing you don't want to do, then it becomes, you take that more to heart than saying, no, I don't want that right now. It's like, no, I'm not that person that would do that. Changes the whole ball game. And that is something that he harps on this entire time. And the biggest thing was, and he says it in an interesting way. And so he goes, the goal is not to earn, let's earn $1 million. The goal is to become a billionaire. The goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. So the goal isn't the outcome. That's the outcome. That's the most shallow layer of how all this stuff works. The goal isn't the outcome. The goal is becoming the person that gets those outcomes consistently. What do you see? Oh, you want a 6-pack. You want to run, a whatever minute mile, or you want to be able to run 5 miles in one go. You don't want to just do that. You want to be a runner. You don't want to bench press 235 for 12 reps. You want to be a lifter, because then those things come. If you focus on, and he goes off on goal setting, and doesn't quite say that they're useless or not worth your time, but he gives an interesting perspective on, if you're setting those goals, yes, you can achieve them. And I've been seeing more and more kind of people shitting on goals. I'm not about that. I'm not about that train. For a long time, I would say a bunch of shit that I wanted to do, and then, have nothing to measure myself on, have nothing to keep myself accountable for. So I wouldn't get those things. And what I'm finding out now is, I break my year into, I call them chapters. I break it into, most of the time 4 chapters. It'll be like 120 days a piece, and have 10 goals. Just, easy round number to keep track of. And, or actually it might even be less than that. I don't know. I have a certain amount of goals for those 120 days. And to be honest with you, most of the time I don't hit those goals. Most of those time, maybe one or two, I'll knock out the other. But the point is you're working towards that. And what I found is I was going back through my notebook where I keep track of everything, like my daily to-dos, just stuff to, just scatter my brain into. So that way I'm not using it or not remembering or forgetting things. What I found is I'm going back to things a year ago to, 6 months ago, the things that I have accomplished. So if I went back and started checking those things off, maybe I didn't get them in those 3 months. Maybe I didn't get those, as soon as I wanted to. But the point is I am heading in the direction to where these things are happening later down the line. And so, you may say, oh, well, that means you're not working hard enough, or which I agree with. I think that there's always more effort. There's always more you can put into it. And that's another thing that the goals have pointed out, hey, you're on the right path, but you're reaching them at a slower pace than what you expect, which will happen for most of the goals. But there are things that you can control. You can put more effort into, recording on a more consistent basis, filming on a more consistent basis. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but you're able to keep track of it as far as goal setting goes. And I've seen kind of this turn in, I don't want to say the self-help community, because I think that that's just washed out and sounds fucking dumb. It's just, you see these motivational posts on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I think that there's a lot of people shitting on goal setting and that as a whole, which was interesting because as I've gone through this and as I've tried to improve myself and my life and how I operate, it was always goals, 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 goals. So now it's kind of been interesting. So that, to an extent, whenever he talks about goals in this book, I have learned thankfully over reading, a good amount of books, is you don't have to agree with everything in a certain book, which for a long time it was, if they say it in a book, it's written down. For some reason, my mind was like, it's right. You have to believe everything one person says. If you believe one idea they have, you have to believe them all. It's not at all the case. As far as these goals go and Atomic Habits, I don't believe in his extreme view of them. And it's not even super extreme, but it's kind of just the best way I can verbalize it. But he says, the goals will come if you become the person that achieves those. Like I said, like he was saying, if you're making $50,000 a year and you can't save $200 a month, then you're not financially responsible. If you made $1 million a year, wouldn't be financially responsible because, if you're spending more than you're making, it doesn't matter if you're making, $1 million a year or $50,000 a year. If you're in the negative, you're in the negative. And so that idea of, you don't want the $1 million, you want to become a millionaire. You want to be a millionaire. You want to be, credit disciplined. You want to be financially responsible, all these things. You want to be that person that achieves those. And so what I did personally was I wrote down, what I aspire to be, what goals I have, and then what characteristics, what identity do those people have as far as fitness goes. You want to be in shape, you want to be lean, bench press a certain amount, have a 6-pack, run, whatever it is. Like I've said before, what do those people have? They're disciplined, they're goal oriented, descriptors of the person rather than just the goal. And that kind of gives the why behind it. Or, I want to be worth X million of dollars. I want to have a Lamborghini, all these things. Okay. Well, how does that happen? Do they spend all their money at the bar? No. Are they very conscious of their financial status? Yes. Resilient, daring, courageous, all these things that you think about that go behind the goal that you're trying to achieve. You want to be an entrepreneur. Okay. What does that mean? You have to be relentless. You have to be a go-getter. You have to be, you have to be courageous. You have to get over that fear that you have of pitching a company or of starting something or marketing or whatever it may be. And so that idea of identity was something I'd never put to as far as, thinking about it with habits. Is just once you change your identity, your habits will change. And something I was listening to today, which really hit me, was I'm a very visual person. That's why I prefer audio. Fuck that up. I'm a very visual person. That's why I prefer, I love photos, colors, bright colors. I love video. That's why I try to harp on and have been working on getting this YouTube thing started up, is because I love visual. And so apparently they said in some studies, 49-50% of the brain, of the receptors that you get data from, are all visual. Now, if you're blind, probably a little bit different. But for the majority of people, it's about half of your data collecting receptors are visual. And so just having things around for habits, he uses a lot of whether it be smoking, drinking, or eating poorly, having those things visually you are going to respond. Most of the decisions, most of the habits you make, good or bad, are things that just are in front of you. So he used the example of, if there's a bowl of cookies out and you didn't even want cookies, you weren't even hungry, but they're sitting there, you're going to grab 6 of them and just chow them down. Now, if those aren't even in the house, you're not even going to think about them, and you're going to go eat, your grilled chicken or your tuna or whatever. And so that was something big. He also was talking about how, environment like that, like the environment of having shitty food around for you, but also the environment of, okay, you train yourself to, don't watch Netflix in bed. So, okay, your mind will program itself to, if you only go to bed to sleep, the second you touch your bed, your mind's going to build that habit of, okay, it's time to go to sleep. And that's the biggest thing for me, is because I'll be on my laptop. I'll have Netflix playing on my laptop. I'll have Netflix or a YouTube video playing on my phone. I'll be doing a million different things. And so that's something I'm going to be working on personally with that. But, having your workstation, having your work setup be work. Be like, this is where I work. This is where I hone my skill. This is where I draw. This is where I study for tests, do homework, whatever it is. And then you have the couch outside. Maybe the couch is where you read. Maybe the couch is where you watch TV, football, chill. Having those environments. And he brings up the point, if you live in New York, or you live in Fort Lauderdale, or you live in LA, where, you don't have a house, you don't have an office room where it can be, a different place for you to get in that mentality of, okay, I'm in the environment of now we're working, or, oh, I'm in the environment of now we're chilling, now we're sleeping. For a lot of us, that's all one room, or that's 2 rooms. And so him bringing that up, he was saying that's fine. You just got to remember that each section or each different part is going to be a different aspect of your life. And so that was another huge thing, was he was saying most of it is autonomous. Most of the stuff we do, most of the habits we have is autonomous. And so if you want to build those habits, you have to have, as soon as the trigger comes up, he was using the example of, okay, when I wake up, I'm going to go wash my face, brush my teeth, put my contacts in, and then you're building that habit. Or, at lunch, I'm going to go work out. And he was saying, you got to be a little more strict than that. Right when I close my laptop, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out. It's things like that. It's having cues that happen to you no matter what. You're going to have lunch. You're going to wake up. All of those, you attach a habit to whatever habit you're trying to build. You attach that to something that happens every day. And that's what he calls habit stacking, to build those habits that you're looking for. Like I said, whether it be working out, whether it be, eating better, whether it be having a better relationship with your family, friends, it could be a million different things. But the habit stacking was huge, because it is, if you set it to where, I'll go refill my cup with water every time or every 30 minutes, I'll set a timer, or, every time, I don't know, I check my email, I will, organize, whatever it may be. There's a million different things, but that's a great way to build those habits. And just reading through some of these, I mean, these are, and just, if you read the book, listen to the book, whatever you have, it's great. And another thing, what I'm reading right now, implementing intention. So set a date and time. Like I said, at 12 o'clock every day, I'm going to work out. In my room, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. Or the second I close my laptop for lunch, I'm going to go hit the gym. Setting a time and a place so you know where to be. That way you don't have to put any effort into it. If you say, oh, I'm going to work out today, and I know I do this to a fucking T. If I say I'm going to work out today, I'm going to work out at 10 o'clock at night, because I'm just going to push it back. Oh, well, the gym's going to be full now. Oh, well, this, well, that. I haven't stretched yet. Boom, now it's 10 o'clock at night. All my excuses are gone. And it's like, I'm either going to go or I'm not. And it's a 50-50. And so having that set to where your mind doesn't even need to work, because your mind's going to want to break those habits, the ones that are tougher. That's all it wants to do. That's why the bad habits are so easy and the good habits are hard, because they're tougher to accomplish. Whether it be reading and your mind's stressed out, or you're working out and your body's tired. If you have something set in stone, a date and a time and a place, even would be better, then it's just like your mind doesn't have to work. You know where you have to be. You know what you're about to do. And so giving that some thought, tonight, if you're thinking of, you want to do something tomorrow, just think about that. So think about setting an actual time, using your calendar, set an actual time of, hey, I'm going to read for an hour. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to work out. I'm going to work on my pitch deck for this company or for this marketing plan, whatever it may be, study for a test. Think about that. And that way tomorrow, whenever you're saying, you know what, oh, I got all this work. Oh, I can't do this. You know, you know what time you're going to go to the gym. You know what time you're going to study for the test. You know all these things. That way the excuses, they'll still be there, but they'll be a lot less pronounced than if you had no plan. And so having that kind of in the back of your mind has been something huge for me. And just stuff I think would be, you know, useful to everybody else. That's what the goal of this podcast is and has been and always will be. You know, I want it to be humorous. I want it to be real life stuff. I don't want it to be, you know, fluffed up. I want it to be, you know, build a community of people like me that are, you know, going for things, that are trying things, that are, you know, going to fall and fail a million fucking times, but you're still going for it. You're still shooting your shot. And I'll leave you with this for this episode number 95 of the podcast. You don't rise to the level of your goal. You fall to the level of your systems. And he uses systems interchangeably with habits. So your body is going to go to the level when you're tired, when you don't want to do something, when you're not motivated, you're going to go back to your operating systems, your operating levels. If your habits are, I eat clean, I work out, this is who I am. If those are the habits, which again boils down to your identity, then you will automatically do those things. You will automatically set at that level. When you're not motivated, when you don't think it's possible, when you have those days, those shivers down your spine, just like, maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'm not that guy. You'll fall to the level of the habits that you've built to achieve those goals that you're going after. Just something to think about. But I appreciate everybody for listening. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video, the podcast, share it, subscribe. Sharing is the biggest thing. If you could, that really helps broaden the audience, and hopefully, you know, people learn something or find something that they enjoy. I know I certainly enjoy making these. And so got some big episodes coming up as our road to 100 episodes is coming close. So I appreciate everyone for watching. Again, this has been the Idols to Rivals podcast. I'm Jack. Upload them every Wednesday/Thursday, and we'll get that ironed out. We're going to schedule these so they get ironed out better. You know, I'm holding myself accountable for that. But everywhere, check YouTube. You'll see the video version of it. And hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.